What a weekend in the National Hockey League, which means we're right back at it on this Monday. Get ready once again for the fastest 2 hours in hockey. It's the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus, Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz. Oh my gosh, where do we begin? Also, around the league in our national hour, we got Jets talk.
Yeah, we do.
We've got Montreal Canadiens talk.
Mm-hmm. Tom Wilson talk.
We got a ton of it, Sammy. A ton of it. In the meantime, let's focus on our Leaf Hour edition of our program. And the Leafs do not get the sweep. No brooms on the weekend, which means Game 5 tomorrow night. JB, we'll start with you in terms of the thought process of missing out a chance to have a week off.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the most disappointing part outside of the OT goal going in is got to be that start, eh? Like that first period, I think they were chances were like 9-1 for Ottawa. There was long stretches there where it looked like, you know, the Leafs didn't come out with the intent. All this talk about can they step on the throat of an opponent and just put them away once and for all? Not even a sniff of that in the first period.
What are you guys looking at me for?
Should we be surprised, though, because Leafs have found a way to have these peaks and valleys throughout 60 minutes for a very long period of time, and yet somehow, some way they've managed, especially down the stretch, to come out on top. Like, this is just Craig Berube type of hockey right now that we watch consistently.
Yeah, I'll say the should we be surprised part is yes, we should be surprised. You know, we thought we all we've talked about is it different, right? That's the whole conversation this year. Is it different? And then we unequivocally on so many occasions said yes. And then when it was the same, I think it was surprising.
Okay, so after every Leaf game, I go on with Sportsnet Central, Ivanka and Ken Saturday night. And one of the questions came to me was, is the seed
Here we go.
Is this Hey, don't shake your head and bury it in your hand right now.
Go.
They asked me if there's a seed of doubt that's been planted. So I'm asking you, Sammy, head of Leaf Nation.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you are Leaf Nation.
It would have been really nice to add one to the win ledger in facing elimination instead of another one in the loss ledger when facing elimination for these guys. I mean,
so what is it, 1-11?
12.
1-12.
1-12 after Saturday.
And if you go back to the 2013 series if you want, they're 1-13 in potential series clinching
Where you
games.
can move on.
You really wish it was done. And like you said, the week's rest, having the ability to get a bunch of practices in, your goalie who's been injured during the year, your captain who's been all this, a week's rest would have been fantastic. And everybody in their mother, including Kyper, wants, I can tell by looking at him, wants to push this narrative of
What'd you do?
Listen, because he's like, oh, I went on with Ken and Ivanka, and they said they're going to blow it. Are they going to blow it, Sammy?
That was their... they asked the question, I answered
You relayed it to me, pal.
He's asking if the seed has been planted.
Yes.
And I will say the soil has been tilled,
Yes.
seed in, fertilized, and watered. It's been planted,
Listen,
yes.
you can't lose 4 in a row without losing 1, okay? Sure, the seed's been planted. But you have to think, I am nowhere close to... oh, my God, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they come home on Tuesday night, tomorrow, I guess, right? And great, an extra day. Like, thanks, NHL.
Need to really sit on this
Perfect
one.
timing for the ghosts talk for 2 days. But if they come home and they look shaky and they lose, then it's full-blown 5-alarm fire. That's when it goes from I'm a little tepid towards it to I am full-on panicking and I don't know if I'll be able to watch. That's what we'll get to.
Even game 6.
It'd be horrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Craig Berube on.
Sorry, guys.
Oh no,
I love how he turned the
listen,
pages.
no. We're
right.
not turning the page.
Okay.
We're just gonna we're spreading it out now.
Okay.
We're not. This is
nightmare.
long from being over this conversation.
Okay.
Let's just get Craig Berube's thoughts on Saturday night and the difference between winning and losing.
Well, I think special teams. We gave up a PP goal for them and a shorty against our PP, and we had the opportunities with the 4-minute in overtime. Didn't get it done.
So it's pretty simple breakdown, and I actually think there's something to it in terms of the special teams. Like, they've been scoring on their power play. They get one in overtime. They have no Tavares. It looks terrible. They hit the post. They hit the knob of Allmark's stick on that power play. I mean, it's the margins are so thin. I mean, it's so hard. Like, if you were to zoom out and not have the Toronto Maple Leafs involved in this series, like, there is no worries about that loss at all.
Mm-hmm.
They battled back twice in that game. They tied it
like
late,
crazy.
defended hard, were the way better team for the majority of it, had chances in overtime, seeing eye shot from the point. You're not going to win 3 straight in overtime, blah, 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 all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's the Leafs. Exactly. So, carry on.
Berube.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's go to Tavares. Let's go to Tavares first, okay?
Yeah.
And because he did mention the power play, and one that did not include a familiar look of Tavares.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the hit and then having him not there on the power play?
Yeah. Thoughts on the hit are it's a greasy play. He definitely tries to give him an extra pop. It hits him in the head. I don't think we're going to start suspending people for plays like this. I don't like it at all, but I think it's at least a penalty. And unfortunately, the result of it, with Tavares not on that power play, now Mitch isn't handling the puck at the top. Now everything is stretched back towards the blue line, and Morgan's trying to figure out which flank guy to give it to. Nothing's downhill towards the net. It looked so much worse the second you got away from the 5-man power play. I do think that them giving up the shorthanded goal earlier in the game makes them go to Morgan rather than, say, putting Bobby McMahon in Tavares' spot. And see,
that bothers me.
Yeah.
That bothers me. But what did you think of the hit first? And then we'll go back.
Okay.
It was dirty play, but I'm a hockey fan. I've watched this enough. I think there's 2 things you can do in overtime to get a penalty, and it's shoot the puck over the glass or high stick a guy. Like, I've kind of subscribed to that. It's a bad play. Is it a penalty? For sure. But, like, do I understand that it wasn't called? I do.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that, and Leaf fans probably hate to hear it, but they don't call that stuff a lot in overtime.
It's very rare that a hit like that doesn't include more force.
You got him right in the button.
But he's standing still. He's almost at a standstill. He just leans at the last second. It's not like he's skating into Tavares. It's not like it's almost as if Tavares has no idea where he is, and it almost comes off as incidental contact, almost.
I don't agree.
It wasn't incidental.
No,
Zub's
it wasn't,
giving him a
because at
pop
the
with
last
that.
second, you're committed to your spot, and you're not going to give Tavares a free lane to go in and cut him off.
Okay.
And that's all I really saw.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't agree. Tavares to me is,
Skating into him.
Yeah, he's skating into and around him, but typically people who do, when you have the puck, people can't deliver a forceful blow to your chin.
Well,
That's typically against the rules.
It's a lot easier to sell it when you're kind of standing still and a guy skates into your shoulder with just the last second of, hey, listen, if he's going to hit me, I'm going to brace myself anyways.
I get that's how Zub is playing it off, is that it's just weird just running into contact.
It worked.
But it did work. But it's the same thing as Bennett on Marchand the year ago, where you go, it worked. I get why it works. Doesn't make it okay or clean.
No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it to be a penalty. I would love a fine. I would love a mention of one of these plays. Like
anything.
A cross check in the mouth goes unfined, an elbow to the mouth unfined. Like, you'd love a mention of it by the league, but playoff hockey, I guess. So.
Okay. Before we get into my thoughts on the power play, just the mere fact that it really bothers me when I continue to watch guys get pulled off for concussion protocol, and then I've watched hits like that in other instances in previous Stanley Cup playoffs or even regular season where a guy does not come off.
Right.
And I'm going, all right, you're in a visiting building. I don't know who the doctors are. Are they independent? Do they fly them in? Do they live in Ottawa? Are they regular contributors to the Ottawa Senators? Is it a lot easier to pull a visiting player off on a protocol than it is if it was Brady Tkachuk who took the same hit? Would he have been pulled off? Would he have been missing an integral part of a game that could have got you out of the first round?
Yeah.
I don't know the answers to that. But all I know is sometimes they disappear, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. It is really subjective and random, and we don't have a lot of clarity as fans about what's happening. You know, is Carrier, same thing. He sat on the bench after the Wilson hit for a long time, and then he went.
Tavares made it abundantly clear he was fine. He was pulled off today. He talked about it, that I was told to get off the bench.
So, yeah, I remember one time this year with Holmberg literally went face first into the boards, and we came in here the next day and it's like, is there a spotter out there, or like what happened? So,
gone to the snack bar.
I mean, listen, Kyper,
honestly,
gone to take a leak.
I gotta tell you, I really wasn't thinking a whole lot about this in that way, but now I'm like,
now you're mad
really
about
mad. Yeah, like now, like the way, like I'm immediately pissed off.
Yeah,
like they just pulled him off for.
They just pulled him off.
Yeah.
6 minutes of game time. He missed a 4-minute power play.
I get it. Like, you know, but I just don't see it every time, you know, and it's just kind of pisses me off a little bit that it's, I don't know. I mean, he was gone at the most important time when they needed him the most.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was a horrific look without him. I'm sorry. And I'm going to get back to your point on, you know, were they gun shy about the shorthanded goal here that they put Morgan Riley? And I'm like, you can't have 5 forwards for over half a season and then be gun shy the one time. To me, Morgan should never have touched the light of day on that power play. I am bringing in a 5th forward, either McMahon or Pacioretty, before I go to Morgan Riley on the 4-minute power play.
Yeah.
So you think it was because, or like you're theorizing was because they gave up the shorty and they're concerned about that in overtime?
I think it's overtime. They want to be more risk averse.
What do you think their reasoning was, Kyper? What's your opinion on it?
I'm not. He could be right.
Yeah,
but it's like no. I mean, you are so far beyond one shorthanded situation, feeling like you're vulnerable enough that you got to put a defenseman back there.
And you know,
stick with it. Stay with it.
And if it's not being risk averse, it's not the best power play option. We know now that there's no solution where Morgan runs the power play and it looks like it does when Mitch is up top. And we've talked about Mitch all year long. Mitch can skate backwards. He can defend.
That might be the first time I've seen him beat so cleanly off of a chip off the boards.
And he could have had some help and support there too. So, you know, it's not just him. So the Leafs gave up 7 shorties this regular season in 82 games, which is middle of the pack. You know, they're not, that 5 forward power play didn't give up a ton of shorties. It was a playing not to lose sort of decision to me in that moment.
And Simmer brought it up on the broadcast, and you two will know this well. The 4-minute versus the 2-minute thing, the urgency for the first half of that power play, there was none of it. Just the way, like when they're on.
That's how it looks when Morgan touches it. It slows down.
But then when they were on, I mean, through the first 3 games of this, and even they got a power play goal, didn't they? In the earlier in the game, did they score a power play goal? Racking my brain. Anyways, their power play has been excellent through 4 games. Like, it just looked so much different. There's no directness. That's not going towards the net.
It threw everybody off.
Nobody knew what to do.
It threw everybody off. I want Mitch up top. Okay.
And even the
break-ins. Don't want him down low.
Don't look as good to me. It's so that was, they were up 3-0. You know, with a chance to put the series away. Would have liked to see them say, we're really going to try to go for it here and end this thing, but we're on the road anyway.
We want to hear from Craig Berube on the Zub hit, or we past that?
I mean, he says he doesn't like it.
Okay.
Do you want to hear that?
No.
Okay.
Well, then let's hear him on the power play in overtime, then clip 2.
There you go.
Well, no, I mean, we had some looks. We had some good looks. I mean, Matthews hit the post and hit some good looks. Didn't go in. I mean, I'm not going to look at it too much. Didn't get a bounce. Could have ended it. Hit a post. You know, we had a couple other good opportunities. Yeah, I mean, JT's very good on the PP for us, you know, obviously, but we had our looks.
It's his bread and butter right now.
Yeah.
Tavares,
Yeah.
as good as anybody right now.
And
Needed him.
Berube's not as familiar with the fact that they had some good looks. Is like the mantra of this team after losing in the playoffs. That's been a thing forever. I will note, just because we don't note this often enough when it happens, John Tavares,
shoot it in the net.
John Tavares is their best forward
Sorry.
in Game 4. I thought he skated really well. He attacked. He held on to the puck. He was having a really nice night.
Great effort on driving it to the net on the game-tying goal.
Yeah.
By Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
What a play that ended up being, too. Travis Green weighed in.
Sorry, those highlights.
Yeah, watching Matthews not put that one away in the slot.
Shoot it
We're gonna
in.
get to that.
Can we just...
And hits the knob of the stick on the Oliver Ekman-Larsson wrister.
I appreciate you saying Tavares was the best skater, the best player,
Yeah.
but, like, that's where you need Austin to carry those words.
No argument.
Okay? And we still see other series where top players hit levels where you're like, your jaw's dropping, wow factors.
Yeah.
Just not, hey, good two-way play, good this, good that, but come on, not for
You watched Leon last night?
Not-
Draisaitl grabbed the Oilers and willed them across the line.
This guy needs to step up this time now to look. Even if you're not shooting it in the net, you got to look like you're the best player on the ice.
How about a threat? Look like you're a threat.
I mean, the thing is, they have good counting stats through the first 4 games of the series. Like, I think they're both producing. Marner and Matthews are both producing well through 4 games. So it's a very easy thing to point to for a lot of fans being like, oh, you're just, he's been good. The points have been there. He's playing an elite 200 game. And I'm not saying this to disagree because I totally agree. And to be quite frank, you see those numbers, the 1-12 in elimination games, and I saw like a lot of the same looks that I've seen in years past.
Mm-hmm.
The looks on the faces, the pucks bouncing on them, like you're not shooting it in. Like, I mean, how many times? I know it's hard. I know it's hockey, but like the puck is in the blue paint, and you bank it off the post. You miss in overtime on the wrister on the 2-on-1 with Marner. I recognize some of the looks from Matthews and Marner in Game 4.
It's funny. I know. I hear you. It's funny. Luke Fox has a tweet today where he says, Maple Leafs outscoring Senators 5-0 at even strength and 10-1 in all strengths when Austin Matthews is on the ice in the series. And it's like, I know, but. I know, but. Like, if you watch that last game, you're like, it's not.
No.
It wasn't there. It wasn't there last game. And we know he has another gear. We know what it looks like when he hits that other gear. In one of these games, in one of these moments, you'd like to see him have one of those games. One of those games.
And he has had those games in the playoffs for the Leafs, but it's just not when they have a chance to move on.
Yeah.
Like, it really isn't. And
He looks like the hurt version of Matthews, which is often this time of year we're going, is he hurt? He didn't skate today.
didn't skate today.
Something not right.
Must have hurt his vocal cords after Game 4, too, because he didn't talk to the media. Anyways.
Right. That's weird.
Okay. Friday, I threw out the thought of Joseph Wall starting.
Oh, here we go.
I did.
I know,
And most people told me I had to get my head examined, including you, Sammy.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Me, 100%.
Sunday, I got a few tweets, just not many, not a ton, that said, yeah, you might have been right.
You know what, though? I'm going to push back on this because all you did was bring up a conversation, which was, would you? Should you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever advocated for doing it. Gun to your head, you were starting Stolarz on Saturday night.
You know what? I would have needed a deeper dive into it, but I will go back to why I threw it out. And my theory doesn't look as ridiculous today as it did Friday because they lost. Okay. And for the first time, Allmark was better than Stolarz in the series.
Not much.
Not much. No, not much, but enough. And the one thing that I did like about the thought of it was that Stolarz is now clearly in an area he hasn't been before. He's played 4 games in essentially 8 nights, right?
Yep.
And
I think it was actually 4 and 7.
If there was one opportunity to get Joseph Wall in on a total strength move, not a ricochet, not a rebound, not our guy stunk, no goaltending controversy, no nothing, just get in a goalie that you really believe in, get him a rep in.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario is he loses that game.
And you got a fresher Stolarz for game 5.
And you still got a guy that hasn't lost.
Still has
home.
confidence. You have no greater advocate or partner in this than me. I am absolutely you can't just run out the same guys because you won. You do what's best to win the next game, to position you for the series. Totally on board. If you had rolled out Joseph Woll in that game
and lost,
and he was awful.
Okay, that's the gamble. That's where you just have to say, if we lose, it won't be because of Joseph Woll.
Yeah.
And if you really believe that, then it was a bigger option for you.
Yeah. I think if you and I were on the coaching staff and sat in the office and talked about it long enough, you could have talked me into Woll for sure. But I get why 95% of Leafs fans
I'd be the other coach being like, you're out of your mind.
And you'd have probably been right.
When you think about the week that he's had and the stress and, the intensity and how he's been so good all week, the one thing that I would have guarded is that if he just starts getting a little tired.
So is that mentally, what you saw Saturday?
100%.
But,
okay?
Kip,
he did not at the end. Yeah. And I get it was a seeing eye shot there that beat him. But I can see his energy and his movements at the end nowhere near as sharp as at the top of his game.
But the one thing they had going for them when making this Game 4 decision is multiple days between games before Game 5. You knew that if you played them, you were going to have more than the usual one-day recovery to reset.
It's still a great extra day for Stolarz.
Yeah,
this extra day
is big for the Leafs.
Is big for Stolarz.
Yeah,
Matthews, I don't really know if he's hurt, where he's hurt,
not saying he's hurt, but he's the only guy not skating today for rest.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But
so just to confirm.
Yeah.
Before we continue.
Yeah.
Stolarz game 5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
100%. 100% now.
Okay. Yeah.
The window's gone.
Yeah.
The window was Saturday night. Yeah, it's not game 5 at home.
No.
Okay. That window to rest him or to get Joseph Woll a game in is gone. They missed it.
Yeah. You have one game here before, as you mentioned,
panic mode.
The squeeze is on. The noise is loud. The media is there. The Sens believe. You got one more crack at it, and then it's, Thunderdome.
Lucky for Leaf fans, they've been excellent in elimination games, so it should be no problem.
But hey,
I mean,
you run up against it enough times, the old chipping away at the same rock thing, and it cracks open. Apparently, the 14th time.
I'm going to be, between now and puck drop Tuesday night, the dark arts that I am going to be working, the voodoo, the curses, the reverse jinxes. The dark arts are coming.
Sammy's got the Sens at plus 900 to win the series.
I do.
Let's. We haven't done this one, have we? Craig Berube on failing to close it out.
Nope, we have not.
Let's hear from the coach.
Yep.
Senator will probably be thinking that maybe they planted a seed of doubt in you guys being up 3-0 and now 3-1, and this team historically, the core of players that have been here have had trouble closing out series. How do you combat, say, ghosts
Well, I don't think that was the case tonight. I thought our team played extremely hard, did a lot of great things. You know, we gave up 4 shots in 2 periods. I mean, I thought we defended hard, played hard. You know, I mean, you got to, bounces go one way or another. I'm not too concerned about it. I thought our team was ready to go. Did a lot of good things tonight. Didn't work out.
Why don't he has a one from today as well. There's another Berube clip on what has to change for you to close it out, clip 6. Do you want to do that one?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do
I
that.
don't think a whole lot. I mean, it's there. I think we got to keep doing a lot of the same things we're doing, and we make adjustments game to game. And, I think that we can try to generate more for sure. But at the same time, I think we're doing a lot of good things, and it's a bounce here or there. It's a different game, right? But that's the way it goes. We got to match desperation level here. It's going to be a hard game. They're a good team. I've said it all along. That's a good hockey team over there, and so we'll be ready to go.
So it's so funny, the two coaches. Like, I listened to Travis Green, who talked for 14 minutes today, and I was able to dig one clip out of it. But he was just like, the Leafs are a good team. They're a great team. They got great players. They're a great team. They're a great team. Berube, they're a good team. It's a good team off right now. They don't know how
they're old school guys
No
too,
bulletin
right?
board material.
Bueller.
Just
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team.
say what you got to.
Bueller.
So it's kind of a must-win for them.
Oh,
For-
no, don't use
for the Leafs?
must.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's not a must win.
No. I'll tell you.
You're
No.
Marty, you're out of your mind
Not
if you-
literally for the series. I'm talking about everything that they've built up towards. This is different. This is right. To carry the momentum now,
Okay.
it is kind of a must-win
I will say this.
at home to close out a series.
I would be fully confident they could win Game 6 if they lost Game 5. I would be confident they could win Game 7 if they lost 5-6. However,
I think if they lose tomorrow night, it's coming back for Game 7.
Of course it is.
I don't. However, I'm emotional.
Damn
However, if you want to believe that the picture is greater than beating Ottawa in round 1, I do think it's a must win. I do think it's like an
At least we got that out of
If
you.
you want the mindset that, yeah, okay, we gave them 1 in overtime, but we still are the Leafs.
Oh,
it's different. We win in
yes.
5. Bring on the next
win
opponent.
5-1, 5-2, 6-2.
Yeah.
Nail it.
And all of a sudden you're like, okay, let's let these two teams beat each other up, or wait, it could be a longer run.
We got a weekend off
if
here. We
you-
can chill.
If you come out of this series after 6-7 games with one limb intact, that's why it's must win. You can't be
Yes.
that team.
Yeah, and that's my theory on why I feel like
It's my theory
You-
because
you-
if they lose tomorrow,
they
they,
have-
lose the series.
they have to.
See, that's nonsense.
They need, for so many reasons, including the 1-12. They need tomorrow night
Yeah.
at home. Shut the door.
And these guys, Mitch, Austin, Willie, for their career-defining narratives, you don't want to be the guys who are like, you don't want the yeah, but after all the great things you did. Yeah, but they couldn't, whatever. Put
You better lock it up.
couldn't do
You lock it
whatever.
up. Lock it up.
There's some incentive for them to treat it like a must-win. No doubt about that.
Before we go to break, because we're going to get to Yorkie, which is going to be great, can we just talk about that Matthew Nyes goal?
Oh, my God.
Oof.
Freak.
Freak of nature.
I mean, everything on
Yeah.
display that he does well. Power, speed,
Yeah,
hands.
yeah. And the line hasn't been great in
No.
terms of moving the puck, making plays.
Extended zone
It's
time.
just it's a great individual effort.
Would you break it up, the line?
I'm not that far off of. I'm not shrugging you off like a 0-2 fastball,
Yeah.
right? I
Really?
I look at different things. Yeah, I don't see a lot of chemistry out of it.
Oh, look at this
Dink.
goal.
Yeah,
See ya.
I don't,
Lean in.
I'm not seeing a
Thank
lot of
you.
chemistry right now moving the puck. This time of year, it's so tight
Yeah.
that you've got to be able to move the puck.
Little pass, little pass, little
Like,
pass.
we'll get into this in our national hour, but watching Edmonton when they are focused,
Oh, my God.
when they are focused, like really dialed in, watch them move the puck.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you don't get that out of the number one line right now out of the Leafs.
No, it's hit and miss for sure. They're certainly capable of it. We see it in stretches.
And last thing, just quickly before we break, Oliver Ekman-Larsson on a positive note.
Yes.
It's a great pass from Willie for the game tying goal, but offensive pedigree still there. Hits that one-timer offside down to a knee, hits it hard to get into the net. That's a really nice
Really
play.
good finish. The other thing worth noting, where they give up 4 shots in the last 2 periods. I was hard on the start. They did lock it down.
Yeah.
This D is going to keep them in enough games to give guys chances to be stars.
With a drive-in offense.
Yeah.
Right? Between Benoit and OEL.
Yeah.
Like, they're
They got 60.
threatening.
He had another moment where he
Right?
busted up the ice in
Yes.
game 4. Like, I'm like, what is this?
He had another cannon, too, that he unleashed at one point. It's
91 something on the.
feeling it.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
love
threat.
it. All right.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, as Sammy just said, Jason York, co-host of the Coming in Hot Sens podcast, a regular here on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. Up next, we get the Ottawa side. Back when we return after these words. Welcome back to the show, Leaf Hour edition of our program. Toronto Maple Leafs set to host Game 5 at the Scotiabank Arena against the Ottawa Senators. Here to help us tee it up, Jason York coming in hot after a big win by the Ottawa Senators. New life, baby, new life. Yorkie, how are you, man? Thanks for doing this.
Hey, Kyper, I'm good. Yeah, no, it's it's sunny day here in Ottawa. I actually went and hit golf balls today for the first time. So yeah, hopefully for the Sens they can pull one out. But this series has been so tight, guys. Like the last, you look at every game, even game 1, with the exception of I thought Ottawa had a really bad first period. They could have went either way. You can make an argument for that. I actually thought the Leafs were the better team last game. And Ottawa wins. Like it's been a weird series. It's been very strange.
So what is it? Does it just come down to a seeing eye shot by Sanderson in overtime? Was it the penalty kill? Was it Ullmark being one save better than Stolarz? What was the difference for you?
Hey, Kyper, I think it was goaltending. I think that's the first game that you can honestly say that Ullmark outplayed Stolarz. Because for me, up until then, Ullmark's been okay, but Stolarz has been all world. And last game, probably like a couple of those goals back. But hey, it's the playoffs, and it's all about goaltending. Like you might as well rename the Stanley Cup playoffs goalie, because that's pretty well every year. The team that usually comes out ahead usually has the best goalie. And last game for me, it was goaltending, and I thought Ullmark, that was by far his best game.
How are fans feeling now? How are they enjoying this? It's been a bit of a wait to get back into it here, and it's the Leafs, and suddenly this thing feels like, okay, you got one, start chipping away, you win another, go back to Ottawa. How's the mood around Ottawa?
Oh, Barney, they were fired up here in Ottawa. There's somebody posted a couple videos of people leaving the rink and people dressed up in like the Senators' suits of armor and stuff like that. It was nuts. Like, I think you look at around the league, like look at Montreal and Winnipeg and every single rink. I don't think the game's ever been in a better place than it is right now. The excitement, like Montreal is like a soccer crowd there. It's nuts.
It is amazing.
It's crazy. Ottawa, people were saying it might have been the loudest they've ever heard that rink, and I might have to agree. I was there, albeit I was up in the press box, but still it was good. The last thing people wanted to see here, because it's been a great year for Ottawa. They made the playoffs. That was their mission. If it would have been any other team but the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think fans would say, hey, you know what? It's been a great season. Even if they would have lost last game, because it's Toronto, people don't want to go down to the Leafs, especially 4 straight. So people were in a great mood. That people were fired up. It's been a long time coming. And we'll see, like, where they're going back to Toronto. And that's been the analogy with this group. Like the guys around the room today were saying, hey, just win another game. Don't worry about winning 7 games. Just it's all those old boring quotes we all hate in the media, but that's the way it is, right? Just go and try and win a game 5 and live to fight another day. That's what they're going to live by right now.
You are watching and listening to Jason York, former National Hockey Leaguer, co-host of the Coming in Hot Sens podcast. So, Yorkie, the Senators have 2 $8 million defensemen in Chabot and Sanderson. The Leafs don't have even one. But late in the Saturday night, you could sit there and go, the Leaf blue line's outperforming or outplaying maybe the Ottawa blue line, and then Sanderson scores the game-winning goal. And what do you think that does not only to the blue line for Ottawa, but maybe even Sanderson with confidence or momentum coming into a Game 5 in Toronto?
Yeah, it's funny, the playoffs, Kipper. Like Simon Benoit. Like you talk about all the defensemen on that team, and it's Simon Benoit that's been a part of two overtime wins. The seeing eye shot, but that's the playoffs. It reminded me of Corey Cross when I was playing for the Sens and I lost to Toronto. Crosser scores a goal, but that's the playoffs, right? And for Sanderson, he's a young guy. We all saw him at the Four Nations. He's like, I think, Borny, I know you're a big fan. I think he's going to turn into one of the elite defensemen in the league. He's close now, but this has been something I've been noticing a lot in the series, something that Toronto has done a better job of Ottawa's defense, just getting shots through and shooting it quick. Ottawa now is getting their shots through quicker. And look at that goal. It's just get it through, because it seems against Toronto, if you wait and wait, they stack the box and they've got 4 guys in there, sometimes 5.
And it never reaches the net.
It never, and like I've been watching the missed shots in this series, and Ottawa's defense up until this point have not done a good job compared to Toronto. You got to shoot it quick, and I think Ottawa's now they've learned something here. Get it, fire it, net front, ugly goals. You're not going to get. Kipper, you played in the playoffs a lot when you won a Stanley Cup. How many times do you see a beautiful goal? It's dirty goals all the time. And what's amazed me with Toronto, they've totally changed their style since the Sheldon Keefe days. Like, I think they set a record for dump-ins in game 1, the first 10 minutes. I'm like, is this the Toronto Maple Leafs? Dump, chase, hit, block shots, no turnovers. It's a winning recipe. Like, I've been impressed with how they've played. So I give Craig Berube a lot of props.
Yorkie, you mentioned that maybe the Sens D have learned to just kind of fire some pucks through here. What else have you learned about the Senators? What other players? You haven't seen Batherson, Stützle, Tkachuk. You haven't seen these guys in playoff hockey yet. Is there anything so far that you're like, they've been better or worse than what I expected to see?
He doesn't have the points, Barney, but I've been impressed with Stützle's compete level.
Yeah.
Like, he's playing 200 feet. He's skating. He's hitting. Like, I think, like, if you look at this center ice position for the Senators, that to me, that's the biggest difference between these two teams. You look at the experience of Matthews, Domi's got experience, Lawton's got experience, Tavares has experience. Then look at Ottawa. Stützle, first playoffs. Pinto, first playoffs. Cousins, first playoffs. So they're learning on the job here right now. And I think every game they get is just an opportunity for these guys to learn what it takes to win in the playoffs. And what I've learned is Stützle's a competitor. I've been impressed with him. I know Batherson had the mishap, the pizza, and then a little bit of a flyby in that one game, but he's been really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been impressed with his game, been impressed with Sanderson. And you know who else I can't leave out, and I'm not surprised, Barney. I saw your tweet the other night. I love Amadio. I just think this guy is such a smart player. I didn't know a lot about him before he came here, but really impressed with his game.
So, Yorkie, if we take Stützle out and Brady Tkachuk, I think Ottawa fans would have no issues right now with what they've been able to give so far in this series. But who is the one name that you can think of up front, anyways, that you say Ottawa cannot win Game 5 unless this guy steps up?
So we're taking Tkachuk out?
Yeah, we're taking Tkachuk out.
Well, I think a guy that's been quiet. Oops.
He's stalling. He's stalling.
I'm not stalling. I was talking about this. I was out with my buddies the other night. We were sitting around having a couple of old fashions talking about this exact point. When you saw Dylan Cousins when he came over and the immediate impact he had on this team, how well he played, he really drove that second line. I think Dylan Cousins needs to have a night. Like, he's been relatively quiet so far in this series. He's a big body. He's got offense. I think if he could have his best game tonight, that would be my guy. just because I talked about the experience down the middle, and they're learning on the job. But it would, from a Senators perspective, he's the guy I'm looking at because he's got the ability, he's got the size, and he's a 200-foot player.
Watching Clevin and Montempallo, like they might have something in these guys. Like, it's not like they've been spectacular, but they can hang. They're physical. They're competitive. Like there's
not to take away, but his play on the game-winning goal, driving on the off wing there was huge. Getting the puck to the net and forcing it up was a great play by that guy.
Yeah.
He Travis Green was asked about him. My buddy AJ Jackieback made a point to ask about him after the game in the scrum, and I probably left him out, Bonnie, and I forgot about. There's been some guys in this series. I think Clevin's played his best hockey of the season, and I talked about some of those forwards learning on the job. Clevin's got better and better every game, and if you look at the Ottawa Senators' top four blue line, they're all good puck movers. They've all got some skill, but the one thing they're lacking with that top four, when you think of Zub, you think of Shabbat, Sanderson, and Jensen, you're missing that big body. And Clevin, to me, he'll eventually be a top four. And what he's getting right now in experience is helping him a ton. I agree, Kyper. He made that goal. Like, it was a nice pass to Batherson, but Clevin, like a lot of guys, eventually the Leafs were probably expecting to dump it in, but he kept going. Even almost fooled Solars on that backhand, like short side. But he's had a great series, and you watch for him in the future, guys. He's going to be a top four defenseman sooner than later.
Just in terms of looking for guys' impact, is Brady Tkachuk healthy? Like, he's been good, but I kind of thought that compared to Four Nations Brady, I thought we'd see maybe more Brady Tkachukness, and maybe it's coming.
I think he's banged up, Borny.
Yeah.
I think he's playing. I think he's playing well. I think he's playing hard. But when I watch him, there's just something off, and he's not going to admit it. A lot of guys are playing hurt right now, but to me, absolutely, it's ever since the Four Nations. I think he took some time off. But then the team went through a little bit of a losing skid, and I think he came back a little early. And it's so tough to recover. But he's gotten it out and scored the one big goal, the one game to get it to overtime. But yeah, for sure, he's banged up. Jensen has missed time. Ridley Gregg missed practice today. He's another guy that banged up. Everyone's banged up at this time of year, but those three guys in particular, I think are dealing with a little bit more than people realize.
I got to ask you about Allmark. I know we touched on it briefly here, but is his series now through 4 games kind of mirrored his regular season, where there's been peaks and valleys, and then sometimes he's the box of chocolates, man, and Forrest Gump, man, you don't know what you're going to get, really.
Oh, I love a good Gump reference. Why did you assemble that rifle so quickly? Oh my God, it's got the best quotes. I didn't like his first period in game 1. I just thought, if you could look at the 4 games so far, I think he's been fine since then. Yeah. I think he's been good. But like we were talking about earlier, Stolarz has been all world. And to me, that's been the difference. And like, we can't forget about Toronto's power play. It's been ungodly. Like it's like Mark Savard's done a great job with that unit. When that went to the 4-minute power play last game, poor Drake Batherson, the look on his face going to the box, he's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, has he played to his potential as far as Allmark? No, and I agree. Like, his season, when he's on, Kyper, he's one of the best in the world. Yeah. But when he's not, you're going to see a few goals that you'd like back. But he hasn't played poorly, but he hasn't been the reason that this team has been able to maybe win a couple of those overtime games. And that's the margins. The margins are so tight in the playoffs. And look around, it's always the same story. And Stolarz has been, 11 in a row he had won up until last game. It's crazy numbers.
It's a great run.
But that's hockey, right? The guy that's the hottest, usually that team's going to win.
We're looking forward to Game 5, Yorkie, and always a pleasure talking to you on our show, pal.
Hey, I love the Gump reference, Kipper. Anytime.
Thanks, Yorkie. Appreciate it.
See you
All right,
guys.
pal. Jason York, everybody. Yeah, the Clevin move coming off the wing was great. A couple things I didn't like it from a Leaf perspective is that back pressure from Willie Nylander. I'm sorry, but don't quit on it. You quit, and then you bought Clevin enough time, but if you would have forced it a little bit more into Morgan, he may have been able to cut it off before it got to the net. But it's an issue, too, sometimes with Morgan there, giving up a little bit too much room. I thought he gave too much room to Clevin, but I thought Willie could have helped Morgan out, actually.
Yeah.
So he was talking about Olmark and like Green talked about him a little bit today, saying that he's gotten better as the series gone on. I didn't think he was great on Saturday at all. I thought that was one of the more shaky 31 save performances you're ever going to see.
Looking behind him, the one from McMahon that's under his toe cap, it's like, what is he doing in there?
Domi lets a soft wrister go from the outside hash marks, and it almost gets under his arm and goes in. The knob of the stick that it hits off, and he doesn't even see it before. Like, he has the ability to make some saves. I mean, the one that we showed there is a goal if it isn't for, was it Montempalo or was it Clevin that knocks it in the air? Like, that's 100% in the net if he's not standing there. Would
have been nice for Patches to shoot that.
I do feel like if there's one thing that gives me great hope that they aren't going to completely ruin my life here, is that I don't think
he can get the job done.
I don't think he can get the job done.
There you go.
I don't think he's been very good at all. And I don't think he was particularly good Saturday night. He just was better than Stolarz, who wasn't very good at all. So
the Leafs D is really good.
Yeah.
The Senators offense is average.
Yeah.
Their goaltending is not great.
Yep.
There are going to be chances to win this series.
The shorthanded goal, leaky, not a Stolarz look all season long.
No, you're right. Where it just kind of squeaks through him and finds a way.
Through.
Yeah.
We didn't actually see the puck go in off the initial rush.
It's a breakaway, but if you get that much of it, you'd like it to stay out.
Yeah, no question. But it's a breakaway he stopped on many occasions this year.
No fakes.
No fake, no nothing. Straight.
Ice.
It's like a shovel. He shoveled it through him.
I'm no goalie expert. I'm no Steve Elliott, but my theory on it was that the stick lift kind of changed the speed on it. He was expecting it to be a little bit harder, and it kind of squeezed through him. I mean, that's the best I got, but you'd like a save.
Yeah.
You'd like a save.
Well, if you don't think you're a goalie expert,
I'm not.
Now, wait in our national show when I start asking you about Freddie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be an expert.
You don't have to. You also don't have to talk about Freddie because he's not going to play again.
No, he's not going to play.
Yeah.
He's not going to play.
That's pretty much that.
So we've got. Go ahead.
Lineup change. What do you think? They got Robertson in the stands. He's been a mainstay all season long. David Kampf, mainstay all season long. Pacioretty didn't do enough for me in Game 4 to stay in. You're gone.
Agree.
Yeah, I would think about Nick Robertson coming back in.
Just
to drive up a little bit more of a speed threat.
Yeah. They being Craig Berube, loves his Lawton, Lorenz, Yarncroc line. They play more than the Domi line consistently now. So tough to see him pulling anyone off of that. I thought maybe Yarncroc for Kampf, but he just really likes that line.
Yeah, I don't see Kampf coming in. I probably see him in Game 6.
Yeah.
Then at home at 5.
In Game 6, Sam.
Sorry, if there's a Game 6.
No, you didn't say that.
I didn't say.
You said in Game 6.
When there's a Game 6.
You have to test the scratch and score theory, in my opinion. You have to put Nick Robertson back in. You have to.
It's going to happen. He's going to shoot it in.
The theory is too good.
It's ironclad.
You must press.
We didn't even talk about Montreal and Washington.
Why would we? It's the Leafs hour.
No, but we will on the National Hour. Alan May, Capitals analyst, will join us. Talk a little Tommy Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And the hit that shook the hockey world. Back after these words, we go national. Don't go away. Welcome back into the National Hour of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, and right across your Sportsnet platforms This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Alan May, capital analyst for Monumental Sports Network, who was in Montreal in what have been two electric Stanley Cup playoff hockey games in Montreal. Like, have you guys ever covered a game in Montreal for the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I've never been to the Bell Center, period.
Let me tell you
I
something.
went to a regular season game against the Stars once.
There is nothing that can compare to it.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm telling you right now, I've either played or covered Stanley Cup playoffs for Sportsnet, Stanley Cup finals. No team in the league can match what Montreal presents to their fans before and during the NHL Stanley Cup
And
playoff
that,
game.
believe me, that comes through clear as day. You know, I felt a little bad in the first hour. I had Jason York on talking about Ottawa, and he said, I think that's the loudest. Is it the Canada Tire Center?
The Canadian Tire
The
Center.
Canadian Tire Center.
It's called
I've heard of the brand.
Canada Tire. There's no better smelling store in the world than Canadian Tire.
They have their own money, you know.
Yeah, I'm aware. I have some $6,000 of it worth 1 cent. But yes, he talked about how he thinks that's the loudest that building's been. And it came the day after watching the Bell Center. And it was like, whoa, those are different tiers of volume.
That Friday night game with the fights in the benches.
Fights at the benches. Montreal wins and big goals.
And then, I mean, it was a great I thought it was a lot more of a exciting game than the one on last night. But I mean, that hit is just how many times do you think you've watched that hit?
The Tom Wilson Carrier?
Yeah.
More than twice. Ding.
Yeah.
That's just like that's a freight train.
Yeah. He just like skips out of there. He was delighted with himself.
I mean, you talk about on the button, like hitting a home run or striping a golf club down the middle. That probably feels pretty similar to that. So,
Carey made the play.
That was the game right there, wasn't it?
Was the game. Anderson went and shook his gloves at him to fight. Wilson declined the offer. Play went on, and Washington scored.
Duhaime banks it in off of Caulfield, I think,
I don't know who wasn't front, but
yeah,
either way, full marks to the Montreal fans. The two games there were unbelievable.
How are we feeling about the Oilers before we get into just a quick little?
Actually, really good. Really good. And, I mean, it's twofold, right? The Stars, the big boys, and L.A. Like, what are you guys doing?
That Byfield failed chip out is the stuff of nightmares. Haunt you in your dream stuff as a hockey player.
And,
just bank it off the boards.
And
it's more than that, though. It's just that's two consecutive games where you played not to lose, and you cannot do that this time of year.
Yeah.
We haven't had a show since the challenge, right? That was Friday night.
No.
Like, it's just not pretty. This poorly, like those, you let a team
series altering moment.
You let a team that was really feeling down and out. Now it's like, I mean, I will do game time later in this hour. I'm sure they're the favorites now.
I don't know. I don't know, like, how LA's built. Like, we've covered the Leafs here in Toronto all year. We know that. We know how their department works. We know who's the video guys, who's calling the shots. Ultimately, it comes back to your head coach, right? I mean, there has to be a comfort zone in his staff
End
to
of
say,
day, it's on you.
It's, okay, I'm with you. Let's do this. I don't know where it stood with Jim Hiller, but that was as much. The most I can give him is 50-50.
The most.
The most. And now we are in the flipping the coin.
With fire, do I absolutely.
In a tie game.
Hey, you're not behind.
With 6 minutes to go.
And your team playing great.
Against 2, possibly 3 of the greatest players in the game's history on a power play.
Over the last 5 years, it's the best power play the league has seen.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? Not sure. Not sure. That was.
You don't deserve to win the series if you're going to make those type of gambles.
Now, other teams get breaks and don't take advantage of them, McDavid and Draisaitl, and I said this before the series, everything pointed to LA for me winning this series, but I bet on Edmonton.
Yeah.
Because these two mutants, these absolute freaks of nature, refuse to lose.
But you can't win like the Edmonton Oilers are playing. You cannot win a Stanley Cup. You can't get to a Stanley Cup final.
They did last year.
No.
I know last year they killed penalties and
they were better last year. This is those two guys taking advantage of some really, really bonehead decisions.
But
and
it buys
moves.
them time to figure it out as a team.
Win enough so Ekholm can play.
We're coming back to the Oilers.
Connor McDavid had 42 points in last year's playoffs.
We're just beginning. In the meantime, let's go back to the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. Joining us now, former teammate of mine, Alan May, who's covering the Capitals for Monumental Sports Network. It's a heck of a series. Where are you, buddy? What's going on? Were you in the lobby somewhere?
No, I'm back home in D.C., and it's the most beautiful day of the year right now. So, I wish I was outside, but I'm happy to spend time with you guys.
You know what's making it beautiful? Up 3-1 on a team that you're covering.
That certainly helps, and I'll tell you what a great experience this has been. The other night I was in the broadcast booth filling in for Craig Laughlin in Montreal, and that is one of the loudest buildings I've ever heard. And you know, in my pro life, when I was a kid, I watched the Edmonton Oilers win 4 Stanley Cups from inside the building. One of those, I was an extra player, and you and I played in a New York Rangers series years and years ago in 1990. And we lost 7-3, and that arena was so loud and so rabid. At the next game, we had to put on a gong show, and we ended up eliminating them in 4 straight after that. But you know, I heard Tampa Caps playing Tampa in 2018 here in Game 6 was amazing. And then last year, every single game I was at in Edmonton in the finals, but in Montreal, my legs were shaking and vibrating in the booth all through Game 3. It was a great experience for me, and probably for all those Montreal Canadiens fans. That team dominated. They skated so fast. The fans really helped them get the win there. And then the Capitals found a way to quiet the fans yesterday and come out of there with the series lead at 3-1 because Montreal was feeding off those fans so well.
You're watching and listening to Alan May, Capital Analyst for Monumental Sports Network. So who quieted them down? Just one guy, Tom Wilson.
Well, it was Tom Wilson, but before that, Kyper, you know, you guys are watching those games, and in the first game, you know, I watched it, you know, 2 times after the fact, after being in there, and you know, it was so loud in there. So I watched our broadcast, and then I watched the Sportsnet broadcast, and you know, what I noticed was all the pushing and shoving, all the skirmishes after the whistles. The Canadiens fans were getting pumped up, and I thought that elevated their team. And then in Game 4, every single Capital from the get-go. Anytime the time the Canadiens would pull on a jersey or give a little bit of a stick, they just turned the other cheek, looked away. They didn't talk back to them. They didn't mess around. And for that part, they didn't have that elevation. The decibel level never got to where it was in Game 3. And just for a little while, for a few minutes on that power play, and then the Caps calmed it down again. And it was just not getting involved in those active skirmishes, making sure that they weren't arguing with the referees, not giving them anything to feed off of. And of course, Tom Wilson kind of shut everyone up with that monster hit. And he was skating 15 miles an hour. He wasn't going 25 or 30. He was going 15, but 15 miles an hour meeting a player head on. And Tom Wilson is 235 pounds of ripped muscle. He had his feet planted firmly, and that really shook the building up and really affected the Montreal Canadiens and how they were going to play the rest of that game.
Alan, I think going into this series, a lot of people would have reasonably expected Washington to handle their business with this Montreal team. Have the Capitals been surprised by all the push that Montreal has given them here?
I don't think so. When you look at what Montreal's doing, they're a top-line team. They rely solely on the first line. Mm-hmm. They rely on the power play. And the Caps knew that Suzuki and Caulfield and Slavkovsky, not to forget him, we're going to do some damage. But they are fast hockey players, especially the first 2 I mentioned. Caulfield and Suzuki could play a 5-minute shift and never get tired, never slow down. So they're trying to keep them to the perimeter. For the most part, at 5-on-5, they've been able to keep them out of the middle of the ice. The Capitals have just kind of gone back to relying on that defensive play. They got out of sorts in game 3. But the first couple of games, Montreal puts a push. They just go as hard as they can. And there's not a team in the National Hockey League that doesn't kind of go into defensive posture. And a lot of people said, well, they went into prevent defense in games 1 and 2. They did not. The Capitals still had great plays, but the Canadiens found a way to convert on some scoring opportunities, and that they did. And the Capitals, I thought, kind of took off their foot off the pedal a few times at trying to score, but they dominated. Actually, when you look at the play and the fancy stats and all the different, the sports logic things that we go through, the Capitals still had basically dominated the play in 3 of these games. Outside of the game 3, the Capitals have dominated in all those statistical categories.
There's no question the physicality out of the Montreal Canadiens early in this series has almost gone shoulder to shoulder, but they are perceived as the smaller team. And I think when people saw Tom Wilson, with that hit, many of them are sitting there going, okay, how long can Montreal keep going physically against them? Is this where it really catches up, I think, to the Montreal Canadiens in the latter part of the series?
Well, when you look at what the Caps were doing to the defensemen yesterday, they were decimating them right from the first shift. They did it in game 1. First shift, it was Ovechkin and Beauvillier planting defensemen. They're going after Lane Hudson. They're finishing the hit. Tom Wilson racked him in the first period. He finished the hit on him perfect within the rules. Same thing, about the same speed he was going when he got Carrier, but he nailed him, and he was shook. He was grabbing his face, and Wills gave him a shot, and he bounced off into the glass. And we saw a couple plays yesterday where Duhaime and Dowd simultaneously hit their 2 defenders on like a 2-1-2 forecheck, and Dowd went flying back off the Caden Gooley. But I watched Gooley on the bench, and neither of the broadcasts were showing Caden on the bench, and he was shook up. He was winded. He was bent over. And you go down to 5 defensemen, and then you go down to 4 because you're not going to play Jack. So you get those other guys out there, and the Caps get finishing. Now the next game. So this series has been about line matchups. It was a lot easier for St. Louis to get his line matchups out there. And the Caps, they don't want Ovechkin and Strome to go head-to-head with Suzuki and Caulfield because those kids are just going to go for it offensively. And if you miss the net on a shot, they're on a fast break down the ice. So the line changes on Wednesday night. It'll be back to matching with Dubois, Dowd against that Suzuki line. And then the other guys are going to go after. But the one thing the Caps will do, they will go after and try to stay within the rules of finishing the hits on those defenders. They're not the biggest guys. They're fleet of foot, especially Lane Hudson. He's hard to hit. Mm-hmm. But once you stop skating, you got to finish on him. And that's what the Capitals will go in, and they will try to do that in game 5 and send Montreal home sad. And that's, they've got to stick to their game plan, stay within their defensive structure. And that's how they come out of this. If they can close this out in 5, that will be how they do it.
And are you confident that Logan Thompson is healthy and able to be the guy he's been for them this season?
All the confidence in the world. And, it was really nice of the Montreal fans to be cheering him on his save yesterday. And they cheered him when he got up the other day. I thought it was a jeer, but he was feeding off the animosity from the crowd. I love the Montreal crowd. I thought they were spectacular. But last game, Logan, on the high danger opportunities that they had at 5-on-5, he was there for his team. He had no rust on him. He had no wear and tear from what we saw. Got all the confidence in the world to him. But also Charlie Lindgren has been a very good goaltender for the Washington Capitals since he's been here. So it's not like if anything ever happened to LT that the Capitals would be in panic mode over, who's going to be in there stopping pucks.
It looked like it was a knee issue or something. He limped off, did he not?
There was a lot of contact. Every time you watch that replay, there was head contact. There was a.
We all assume he got bonked in the head, right? I mean, that's the initial report, right?
Oh,
down, but and then there was also, you see Strome skates through him, and the skates are in the midsection, and then when you get the camera angle from behind, he takes it looks like his knee is hyperextended. Yeah. So it's so impossible to speculate. And at that point, really, you want to get him out of the net because Montreal was rolling. whatever was going on at the LT, I haven't asked him, how bad he was shook up, but who knows? It could have been one of those overall body stingers when it just everything hurts on a big impact collision. But, to see him skate out there and, he was walking in the building on Saturday and he was laughing and joking with his teammates. And then he and Lindgren went out there and they left the ice at the same time on a Sunday morning. And that was absolutely hilarious. The mind games they were playing with everybody. So, the Caps have all the confidence in the world in both of their goaltenders. And just like Montembeault, really gave Montreal a huge boost in the way he'd been playing down the stretch. So, it's just one of those things. Hopefully you don't ever have to change your goalies, but when you do, you want to really be able to believe in the other guy.
Montreal's got some reason to believe in their future. Slavkovsky looks good. That Hudson is really hard to hit. What have you made of Ivan Demidov? A shifty little fellow out there. Not even little, just shifty.
Shifty. He is so fast. And I thought really should have started playing him more. In his very first game, I was like everyone and, a true hockey fan in North America. And I was texting with all the former Capitals that I worked with. We were watching the game in all different places. And I had about 20 of my friends. We went to a bar to watch and a sports bar here in DC. And we were like, wow, we couldn't believe how electrifying he was. And it was exciting for me and it was exciting for the league and the people of Montreal. When he came out for the rookie lap and the arena's jam-packed, it's full. Yeah. Hockey is so much in, the people of Canada's blood. And, him to go out there, the way he got this first assist, the first goal. But one of the things, because you've still got to learn how to play without the puck, the defensive structure. It's not like he's lazy and everyone was going after him in the second game he played. But I saw multiple errors. And you can't give too much information because at the end of the day, you want him to be a wow. You want him to be offensive. You want him to be able to carry the puck end to end and dish the puck the way that he has been. I loved watching him play yesterday. And he is electrifying. And if they ever pump him up with Suzuki and Caulfield full time, wow, there's going to be a lot of goals scored. And you're going to see those three guys get to 100 points each because he is that good. I was amazed to see him play. I can't believe what he can do with his wheels, with his skates, the edge work that he has, the shiftiness. He's really one of a kind. So, they should almost go down to the three lines and just have that kid on the ice a lot. And because when he's out there, he's going to get the puck down the ice and you're going to have to worry about him inside the defensive zone. But he's been a blast to watch, especially in person. It's always better. And man, he has not disappointed me.
Awesome stuff. Before I let you go, Albie, just one thought. Washington Capitals is going to get even bigger with Protas at 6'6" coming back into the lineup for Game 5.
Well, we will see. Tomorrow will be his first full practice. And then, game day morning, he'll probably go out there for they always do an optional on game day, but everyone seems to show up for them. But I would expect, it's been about that time. It's been 3 weeks now since that injury. And, that's normally when you look at it. If it's a minor thing, it's usually 7 to 10 days. If it's more than minor, you go to 3 weeks. If usually more than that, you're waiting to the 6-week mark. So the way he was skating in Montreal, he looks like he's good to go. And what a boost and what a weapon that is to bring back in your lineup, a 31 goal scorer that is one of your best penalty killers, that is a play driver. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody, as far as my time in Washington, whether as a player or in my broadcasting role, that's ever expanded and improved his game so much from season to season. Plus 40 this year, 6 goals last year. I think it was 6 goals this year, 31. And he came in, and it's not line mates, because no matter who you put him with, he's been playing well, but he's battled harder on the wall with the pucks. He usually wins every single board battle. Shooting, last year so many times he'd be 10 feet from the net. He'd dish the puck somewhere, and it drove me crazy. This year he just seems to be doing everything right. A true student of the game and an excellent teammate for the guys in his squad. So if he can come back, that'll be a huge difference maker.
Great stuff. Enjoy Game 5 Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Albie, great stuff as always, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And Barney, send me that tie, bud.
What's that? A tie? Do you have a tie?
Oh, he liked your tie the other night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the blue one.
Okay, on it. Hey, you got it, buddy.
All right.
That tie, it'll look good with one of my suits. I got it.
Former National Hockey Leaguer, Alan May, covering the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals.
You know what I'm wearing for a tie tonight? I'm wearing a camo tie.
Whoa.
Yeah, I see BX had one the other night,
liked
and
it.
there's one in my style today.
Liked
I said,
it.
oh, let's do it. We'll
Make it look
throw a
good.
camo tie on.
I am very envious of all the great suits. Like, I just think the Sportsnet suit game, all the guys look fantastic. Really
Nice
good.
stuff.
Really
Deb
good.
Berman, shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, the best.
Debbie,
Yeah.
good work.
Really good.
Okay, what is going on
Amy.
with kind of goaltending in the first round here? Because I don't know, it's kind of looking soccerish to me a little bit.
Some crooked numbers out there.
It's a tough game.
I'm talking about the flopping and the guys
Oh.
make okay. We just saw, for those of you watching and not just listening, Logan Thompson come off the ice like he was done, like grill marks on a burger, done.
I couldn't believe. Like,
And
when
then
they said he
48
was
hours
starting,
later, he's kind of giggling and laughing. Like, I'm sorry, but like, how do you go from looking like that to 48 hours back in the game?
You've torn your MCL before, right?
ACL.
ACL. I did my MCL, and I remember how loose my knee below the knee felt. Like, it just feels like there's no support. I saw him try to skate, and I saw it looked like his knee just wasn't there for him. And I was like, oh, night, not seeing him again. And yeah, the next day he's in there just doing his thing.
Doing his thing.
But when he got cross-checked by Strome, right? That was coming back on the back check? When he fell back, it looked like his left or right skate kind of picked.
Yeah.
And he went over the top of it, and you're like, oh, it's popped, it's gone. Like, it's not like he was, because I love to accuse goalies of being huge fakers and divers, because they all are, of course. But like, this was not a situation, well, this is the different one here, but it's not the situation where I thought he was faking it, or like I thought he wasn't like actually.
Oh, he
done.
just gets cross-checked to the
I
chin.
know
straight
he
up.
does. I know, but
The knee
it's not. It's
buckles.
It's like he can't walk.
Well, then he might be seeing Tweety birds. I don't know.
Oh, so maybe
And-
like
Maybe a little
and then it
Huh.
keeps you from putting weight on your left leg in particular.
You've seen boxers get clocked and have trouble get their feet under them.
Okay, so it brings us to Freddie Anderson. Carolina seems to be very comfortable against the New Jersey Devils, but lo and behold, he's gone. Gone. And it's
stunning.
We're going to be the make fun of injury show.
Kind of,
today?
no, we're not. We're not. I'm saying like you want to lose this reputation.
I know.
Finally.
I know.
And he walks right into the same reputation he's had his whole career.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just
I'm not shocked.
really strange.
No, I know. Listen,
And
our
it didn't-
bodies
it
are
didn't-
built differently. His does not
It just-
seem to
and
be a durable one.
I don't know if we have it, don't have it, show it, don't show it. I don't know. But like I'll give it to him. It was a very strong nudge.
Oh my God. Strong nudge.
Very
He got-
forceful nudge.
Kipper, you got hit hard. Listen, I am the foremost Freddie Anderson make fun of her. Like I will make fun of
have
him.
it.
But he
Listen
got
to me.
hammered. He got hammered.
Like what? Tom Wilson hammered?
No, but Carrier didn't play anymore either. I don't know. I thought
That's
he
a
got
hammer.
Carey would have played. They told him to stop.
Yeah.
Strong nudge.
Okay. I no further comments at this time.
Okay. All right.
No further comments at this time.
Hey, just one comment on Dovich.
Mhm.
Good goalie.
Good goalie.
Good
Dude,
goalie.
the Habs have
No real
players.
drop off.
Needed a save.
Yeah, I needed one. but
Like
still a good.
it's a good shot.
That's a good point, Sam.
It's a good shot.
No, for sure.
But every Hab
I
fan
like him.
sitting there saying,
But he's close.
Li-
He's close.
I like him too.
I didn't think, like you said, not much of a drop off. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's way worse than Sam Montembeau. 100% agree. Thought he made some good saves in that game. But that's a young goalie, and I don't know if we have the highlight or not, but Mangiapane's coming down the wing, coming down the middle of the ice, Ovi out to the right.
Mm-hmm.
He's mentally cheating.
Yeah.
He's thinking he's going to give it over to Ovi.
Shot it in the
This
net.
guy just set the goals record, and then Mangiapane went on him quick, but, you know.
My
He's
thing
good.
with the Habs is I was like, they have some players. I don't know that they're going to have the elite talent to be like a cup threat in a couple years. And Hudson has changed that, and Demidov has changed that. Yes, Caulfield was always, a 40-goal guy, but Slavkovsky's come along. They got guys now, Sammy. Hate to break it to you.
They got to get bigger.
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
They just got to get bigger. They're just too small right now.
Well, and they're going to
against
lose
this team.
Savard in the offseason. I guess they'll keep Anderson. Another
He
couple years,
loves,
right?
Demidov loves the toe drag to the outside. Like where he tries to
Maybe
like,
because he's really good at it.
he loves
Could be
it, but
why.
like he did it. There was another player other in the game, and that's what you love about the Montreal crowd. They're just so incredibly locked in. Where he did like a between the legs toe drag. That's a really cool looking move. Goes nowhere, and the whole crowd goes. Like it's like a collective, like
They can see what he almost did.
you love that.
Yeah.
But that was a great play to set up Slavkovsky on the power play. Toe drag behind the net. Right.
Okay, we still got plenty to get into, but we got to do
Let's
game
do some
time.
game time. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. It's 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So only 2 games tonight, boys. Bit of a come down from some of the. I mean, yesterday, my poor couch. Like I did some things around the house and then went on a bike ride to get some lunch. Before 1 o'clock,
Cushion assault.
I honestly didn't leave my couch until 10 o'clock.
Just a 9-hour
Got up to make
sesh.
dinner and all that stuff, but it's a little bit of a come down tonight.
That's tough as a dad to hear.
Yeah, sorry, bud. Lou Dog had to go for a walk at one point. The Panthers are big favorites on home ice tonight. Minus 140 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa plus 120.
That haggle back.
Don't know where I'm leaning on that one. That to me is going to be an absolute battle. I really don't feel like the Florida Panthers are worthy of minus
I wouldn't
140 in that
play
game.
In that game without a suit of armor. That's what I can tell you about tonight. I would not step on the rink without full on, like, those dog training suits you wear.
The only way I'm going out there is with a sword. You're not letting me.
It's like a Roman gladiator being released against the Lions.
And the Dallas Stars are home to the Colorado Avalanche in a pivotal Game 5. Should be an excellent game. Dallas Stars plus 115 on home ice. Colorado minus 135. I think that's a good number. You can kind of feel that the Colorado Avalanche are coming around here. What are you going to say?
You're not going to give us the other number of the big event tonight?
No, I was trying. The election numbers were posted earlier. But I think they've kind of taken them down now. So I can't access, because earlier today when I was looking, they had the Canadian election on here, but it's not posted right now. So maybe it's too much information starting to trickle in or whatever it is. But hey, if I guess you go out there and vote, you could do that.
Get your vote in.
All right. That was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out what's ever ordinary at Bet365. It's 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, we got a ton to get into.
Metric ton.
NHL news and notes. We haven't even had a Hellebuyck conversation.
Oh,
Not even close yet.
I
Do you want to do it now or
No.
you want to go to break?
We'll go back, but I'll just say
I
this.
need
Jets talk.
We got some Jets talk.
Jets talk.
Jets
Big
talk.
time.
Yeah.
And also Tampa Bay and Florida tonight. Matthew Tkachuk. So much has happened between our last show on Friday and today.
Kyle Dubas?
We got to even talk about
Oh, my God.
Matthew Tkachuk. People actually wanted him suspended
I know.
on that hit.
Who was that?
Okay. Let's get into that
Oh, great.
and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Get into some NHL news and notes. Buddy, my list is huge here. So this is going to be like speed dating. When I cut you off, we got to go to another topic.
Start, unfortunately, with Jets talk.
Yes.
Hush tones
Yes.
Jets talk.
Okay. So
Jets whispers.
watch the game this closely. Justin, it was you, Sammy, and David Amber. And I had you guys in the background. I probably was eating.
Buddy.
I was flicking back
I'm not
forth.
sure if you guys had
Days.
the discussion, but I would not. I thought Hellebuyck's not coming out for the third. Did you guys have that discussion on air?
I don't know if we had is he coming out for the third? We talked a lot of Hellebuyck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was the topic.
Were you surprised that he came out in the third? I thought he should have bolted his ass right after the second period and say, get much like Peter DeBoer did that with Ottinger the other night, where it's like, you're not coming out and get ready for game
4-1 after 2 periods, right?
Yes.
You know, I just,
Would you have pulled him?
I don't know that I would have. It would have felt like kind of rolling over on that game to me. But I get why you would have. I understand it.
Yeah, he just didn't have it.
No.
And if you were,
Does he ever?
Well,
you're
yes,
you're
lots
only
of
you're
times
only
he does have it.
you got 20 minutes. You got a good offense.
Mhm.
You're not out of the game, but you're out of the game the moment Robert Thomas came down. And again, you looked like you were
Robert Thomas
small.
made no fakes on that backhand move. He never, and Hellebuyck was actually sliding the opposite way somehow.
I was shocked.
Yeah,
you know,
my problem with Hellebuyck there was he typically plays deep in his net anyway, and then he was kind of passive and small on top of that depth, and he didn't look like himself. There's no doubt about it. Now, I'm not one who thinks that, like, this guy can't play in the playoffs. It's between his ears. It's too much. He's going to be terrible. Game 2, I thought he was good for them. I'm not giving up on Connor Hellebuyck.
There's just no. There's no. Oh no,
you don't.
But like you're not. You can't do what he did all regular season and then bail on him now.
No.
Okay, so no one's saying that he shouldn't start the next game, but
I hate that. I hate that he looks at his D-man on the second.
Something's going on here where he just shrivels up this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
We have a clip of him from today, if you want to hear it.
Hold on, before we hear it, do you want to have the conversation about how many games he plays? Do you put any stock in the idea that playing 62 goalies since, I want to say 2004, since a lockout, have played 60 games and won the cup?
Yeah.
It's very uncommon. There's a reason goalies don't play that much.
I don't tie what's going on with him or previously at this time of year to the games played or where he is physically. I think his problem is mental. I think he does not challenge himself to go to the next level. We see different players now play out of their tree trunks. They just rise to the occasion. This guy has trouble doing that this time of year. And his body language, the fact that he plays so far deep in his net now, and instead of looking bigger, he looks smaller. He doesn't. Teams, the way they play you is different. You got to goaltend different this time of year. You got to be more aggressive. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the one that bounced off of Pionk. Like, come out, go and make yourself bigger. And if it does bounce off of two guys, at least you're on top of them.
You're into the pile.
But
pile. Like on that one, like the shot block attempt was bad. Like Perfetti's not in the lane.
The Tucker goal I hated.
The Tucker
goal.
Bomb. I hate that one in particular because of the reaction. As I said, his D skates in front of him and he looks at him and goes, I don't know if he's calling to the ref like I got touched or what, but it's
how about looking in the mirror? Who are you looking for to blame?
I didn't like the Shen one for just pure passiveness. Just get out, make a strong play, confident motion.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He'll
tell you the same.
This is between the ears, and he's got to make adjustments. He's got to goaltend different this time of year because they play you different this time of year.
Sammy doesn't believe in him, right? That's what we're getting.
Just listen to this clip. Can we listen to the clip?
Listen to the clip. No,
listen. It's a little bit. It's like over a minute long. Just listen to him talking here.
Well, you don't love giving up that many goals, but we're 2-2 in the series. That's all that matters. Winning the next one. Am I going to be better? I am going to be better. I've studied goaltending extremely hard. I've probably studied the most out of anyone in this world. So I know what to do and how to get my best game. So that's what I'm looking forward to do. And, I got to get 2 days here and, time to bring it in Game 5.
You're a Vezina finalist again. Congrats on that. Probably no surprise given the numbers you put up. But your playoff numbers are a surprise. How relative are they to your play?
Great question.
They reflect your play, the numbers.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, it's a surprise in my world, too. When I'm watching my game and, there's a certain way that I need it to look and I want it to look. And you don't, it'd be crazy to go that many regular season games and then all of a sudden switch something up in the playoffs. You don't win 47 games and then you come to the playoffs and switch everything up. No, I know how it needs to look, and I like a lot of things. I'm not going to go and make huge changes. That being said, I'm going to be better. That's my job, and that's the foot that I'm putting forward.
Lot there.
So, feel the same way after hearing that?
I'm okay the way he handled it. At the end of the day, all I heard was, I'm going to be better. So, okay. Just show everybody that then. That's all I heard.
I don't like two things. I do like that he's like, I know I need to be better and whatever, but like, I don't like him saying I studied more than anybody else in the world. It just feels like when I was, it's like a weird.
It's okay. It's overcompensation.
Right. And then like, you don't win 47 games. You don't need that. We don't need that stuff. But still.
It's okay. If it helps him feel better.
To me, it would put more pressure on yourself because you're putting yourself forward as this. Anyway, I think he's going to be okay. Valley has done some work, and we'll talk to him tomorrow on how he has not typically excelled through screens in the postseason.
I got to ask
That's
you.
the battle part.
I got to ask you.
That's the battle part.
I'm trying not to be combative here.
Okay.
But what has he ever shown you in his playoff career that makes you think he's going to be okay?
Well, this is great. This is great because this is something
Because I don't think he's going to be okay at all.
But this is something that you and I fundamentally have always disagreed on, which is like McElroy's a choker.
Yeah.
Oh, but then he wasn't because he played well that one time.
Yeah.
And the Oilers can't win, but then
I
they
picked
started
the
winning.
Oilers
Well, this
this
year
year.
you did.
Yeah.
Can't win the cups in Detroit with Stevie Yzerman. Can't win them with Ovi.
Ovi's never going to be. You can't till you can. And Hellebuyck has had moments. You know, Game 2, I thought he was pretty good this series. 2021, I think he had a good playoff series. I know it's not recent.
Yeah.
I just think good players are good at hockey, and it's still hockey.
Okay.
And you play enough of it, and that will normalize at some point. It's not another sport. I know it's different. I know it's more physical. I know there's more screens.
Yeah.
And he's got to figure that part out. But typically, if you can figure out enough things to become the guy he is, you can figure this out too.
If he just thinks it's a coincidence, then he's really hasn't studied. Okay? He needs to make
That's a good point.
physical, mental, emotional changes in the way he
It's gonna
comes
be
to the
harder.
rink.
It's not the
Okay?
same exactly.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Do need to make some changes.
Okay. Told you we were going to come back to the Oilers in L.A.
Jets talk.
And that was Jet stuff.
Why I think LA might be in trouble is I don't know if you can get over the hump of losing 2 games the way they had.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can lose 2 games the way they did and still find a way to win a series in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's going to carry a little bit with them.
You do, eh?
I do, and there's a number of reasons, and one of them is watching this team in the first round play with 4 defensemen. Like when they signed Edmondson, right? He was a Leaf, right?
Yep.
Okay,
He was good for the Leafs last year,
he
actually.
was good.
Yeah.
Good in playoff.
What is he? A 4, a 5, a 6?
Sure. In
Okay,
there. 4.5.
he's 1. He's a 1 for them. And you know who's 2? The guy who hasn't played all year, Drew Doughty.
Yeah.
Okay. When your top 2 defensemen are those 2 guys against a very fast team, you're no wonder you can't close out games.
Yeah.
They're tired. They're not fast guys as is, and they're your 2 best defensemen.
Yeah.
And you cannot play the Oilers just holding on and playing defense.
I thought McDavid mentioned that in a post-game comment. I thought he kind of planted the seed. He goes, well, they're mostly playing 4 guys back there. He said they're playing 3 lines and 4 guys, which is a bit of a,
It's not
commentary
just
on the
4
other
guys.
team, which you don't usually hear.
It's 2 guys
Yeah.
who cannot get up and down the ice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but that's not their specialty anymore. Drew Doughty is on the other side here. He's still very valuable, but he can't get up and down the ice. They had no push for offense in the 3rd period or in overtime.
Yeah.
They were hanging on. You cannot play McDavid and Draisaitl hanging on. The Oilers cannot play in their own zone, and they have a goalie they're not sure of.
Yeah.
Why aren't you still pushing hard here?
The ice times, quite frankly, for the Kings are insane.
Right.
I mean, Edmondson 36-16 in that game. Mikey Anderson 34-14. Drew Doughty 32-57. 31-40 for Gavrikov. And then Brant Clark played 11-58. And then their 6th defenseman,
Harvey
played 226.
226.
Why did he dress?
Moverar.
Why did he dress?
This is your first round. How can you?
Hellenius
how
played
can
a
you
minute
prepare-
44.
How can you prepare to play the Stanley Cup finalists in the first round with a 6th defenseman you can't use? You've already handicapped yourself.
You know what's so crazy about this?
It's nuts to me.
They were the 2nd best defensive team in the NHL in goals against this year, and by the fancy stats, them and Vegas were the best defensive teams in the league. They didn't give up anything. They didn't score much. So for them to go into this, I think they're 14th in goals for per game, to go into this and score every game. How many goals have they scored? I don't know. Kempe's got 9 points.
Yeah.
They're filling the net. And to still be 2-2 giving up goals like crazy to McDavid and Draisaitl, who have 9 points each as well.
Yep.
It's freaky that they haven't been able to get wins scoring as much as they have.
Kempe has 9 points as a -5. Did you?
What?
He didn't score on it, but I know you love Kempe, so I thought I'd bring it up. But in the first period, I think he came ripping down the right wing and then like in stride, pulled it from out of his and just rang it off the crossbar in one motion. He's a very cool hockey player. He's fun to watch.
He is.
He'd be in a rocket contention one of
For
these
sure.
years, I think.
And like Byfield's a great player. He's going to have a great career.
Yeah.
What's he thinking?
It's one of the most. I hate
is
that
he
play in
trying
D zone.
for an empty net
He
goal?
wants to get the goal.
Oh my God! This guy will never be remembered as goals, as numbers guy.
You got to be Kopitar.
I don't know why. Like, it was that important to him to maybe get an empty net goal.
Like, I know he's thinking, I'm going to end the game. I'm going to put the game away. But look at the time on the clock here. There's 45 seconds left. That gets out. I know. And Bouchard, what a great decision to pinch. You back out there, you end up playing goal.
He really had no choice.
I don't know that a lot of guys would have recognized that. It's a great hockey IQ play.
Just chip it off the boards, buddy.
He's got force
Chip and chase.
Okay.
Go get it. You're fast.
Keep her moving here.
Oh, yeah.
2 games on tap tonight. You guys have pregame show at 6:30?
No, 7 o'clock. We're going to come up for 3 minutes or something. We
Come
got
up for air.
No pregame?
No, it's
They want you
election
to have
night.
a few more reps on our show before they give you a pregame?
We'll see someday. Working on it. Working on it.
Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
The people that wanted him suspended are the same people who thought Montreal and Washington had a brawl in Game 3.
So that wasn't a brawl in Game 3?
In what
Was there
world do you
a
think that
fist
was a
fight?
brawl?
Well, I guess in the playoffs, gloves don't really come off. But like when it's in 2025, Kipper, right?
Yes, your world.
Who called it
Not
a
my
Gen Z?
world.
Okay,
My
Canadiens calls
world.
it a Gen Z brawl.
When there's 2 guys in the bench,
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
it was fantastic.
It was
But
fantastic.
to get back to the point of Matthew Tkachuk,
Yes.
I hate that any of these are discussed for a suspension. Like people being like, "Oh, Zub should have been suspended." I'm like, "Come on,
No.
really?" Like me bringing it up because it's just I think not to get into this again. They set the standard by suspending Hagel that
On a different play.
interference, blindside shots that put a guy to the ice, right? And I think it's not as
It's a late hit.
it's not as violent,
It's a late hit.
but that's
On a guy who just had the puck.
It's a late hit.
there is way more intent in that than there was in Hagel's.
Oh my God! What are you talking
Sammy,
about?
There's
in-
that happened way slower than Hagel's did.
Oh,
There's
listen,
no question.
I-
There's
I-
no question.
I think it's brilliant by Matthew
Of course
Tkachuk
it is.
to
And I
go-
hate that I even have to discuss this
to
because I
go-
love it.
To go get a shot like that, like they just gave you one prior in the
Yes.
game, and to kind of even up the score without ever threatening of a suspension is just a nice, wily veteran
I
move.
just think that's just
The fundamental
that's
difference, and
greasy.
I said this in our group chat, and I'll just say
Yes.
it. So my stance is that one of them is on a forecheck where Barkov you have no reasonable position to assume he's going to be carrying the puck. Whereas the
you
other
mean the guy
guy
that picks everybody's pockets the best in the league and was about to turn towards the net?
he's going in for a loose puck battle. You can't assume he's going to have it and you can light him up. It's predatorial. Whereas this
It was
one
a gamble.
He was a gamble.
He
sure.
gambled. He gambled.
And Tkachuk, the guy, did have the puck. It's not a good hit. It's a bad hit. It's a penalty. It's whatever. But it's a great late hit.
I
love them all.
They got Hagel
I
rested,
liked all 4.
and they won.
I love,
It's a good move.
and I got to say too, I mean, I saw some pushback from Habs fans on the Wilson one. They're like, oh, it's a headshot. Oh, it's dirty. Oh,
I
it's
saw
like,
some Zapruder slow-mos of the
Just
hit
stop,
today.
people.
If you-
Just stop.
if you can't enjoy that,
Wilson would have had to be on his knees to be any more.
if you can't enjoy that,
Okay.
Dubas or no?
Dubas and Mike Sullivan part ways. Like, we can't be that surprised, right? We had talked about
You can be some surprised.
this scenario and whether or not Sullivan sees himself as a rebuild guy and does he want out?
I think it's good.
I do. I think it's good too. I think it's a fresh change.
Give
and
Pittsburgh a chance to turn the page on the cup teams.
Gets Dubas to get his guy in and gives Dubas more control. Listen, Sullivan, Dubas comes in with a lot of power, with one of the biggest, richest contracts in history, but you're not telling Sullivan what to do.
No.
Now he has more power with the next guy that he hires.
So they're turning the page on Sidney Crosby too?
Well,
It's a good question.
I will say the one thing that caught my, Dubas said that he had a 5-minute conversation.
Here, do you want to play the clip?
Yeah.
We have the clip.
Oh, great.
So the question comes in hot. So just prepare yourself for the clip 1, please.
Kyle, how does Sid feel about this? Because he is notoriously abhorrent to change.
Wait.
I'm not going to speak for Sid, Mark. He's.
Fair question.
I'm not disputing whether it's fair or not. I'm just when we go through and make coaching changes or any changes in the organization, I have to do what I think is best for the organization. I called Sid yesterday morning before I met with Sully to give him the heads up. He's been through it before, but in terms of how he feels about it, I had a 5-minute conversation with him before about the fact that we were going through this to make a change, and we didn't get into the ins and outs of it. So I have to do what I think is best for the organization. Every single player, if you pull that room of players, you're going to largely have probably 7 of them that love the coach, 7 of them that hate the coach, and 7 that are indifferent, and the same applies to management. Same applies to the remainder of the staff as well. So I think polling players on their feeling of the coaches is not always the greatest thing to do when you're trying to make that change, and I had to take all the information from the last 2 years and do what I think is best.
When he starts to fast talk, he's angry. He was mad at that.
Well, yeah, he just tried to kind of get out of it, and I'll tell you what
great.
I'll tell you what I didn't like about Kyle's answer.
God, I love that.
Okay, is that
I have something.
you go from having a 5-minute conversation with the most important player in our era, not just Pittsburgh, just the leagues.
One of the most important players in the history of the league.
Yeah, one of the most important
Arguably,
players.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you quickly go to, you don't generally pull players. And I'm like, but he's not in that pull players group.
He's kind of above that.
He's not.
No one wanted Brian Rust's take on
Do
it.
not go from a conversation with Sidney Crosby to generally we don't like polling players. Okay. He is not a polling player. He's a guy that could either be with you or against you too.
Yeah.
In the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a guy that can really control perhaps the narrative on what kind of general manager you're going to be the rest of your career if this guy decides to leave tomorrow, right? It's not going to bode well for Kyle Dubas. He needs Sid Crosby so badly.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea that it was a 5-minute conversation either.
Spend an hour with him.
Well, this feels like something that's like, where are we going? Who's it going to be? How did we get
Means
here?
he was mad. Means he was mad.
That's kind of the, here's what we're doing.
But you don't have to go public with that. That could be behind the scenes.
Say
but what you don't need to do is go public and say, I spent 5 minutes with him. I didn't really get into it. We don't generally poll players. Okay. All right. Sid?
Maybe you should ask Sid.
Sid?
He'd look good beside Demidov, wouldn't he?
Oh, I'd be good in blue and white too, bud.
Sid's got plenty hockey left to play at a very high level.
Big time.
I'm not sure if he's going to want to just
rebuild,
not revisit his future. All right. Did I not tell you this is the fastest 2 hours in hockey?
You did tell me.
Felt very fast.
Very fast. 2 games on tap. You can watch them on Sportsnet with my good buddy, Justin Bourne. Have a great night, everybody. We're back tomorrow. Valley